Welcome back to the Motown Breakdown. I'm Jack D'Angela.
And I'm Juice Mavanack.
So, Dries, we'll just preface this by saying this will be the last Motown Breakdown episode that we do because we are seniors.
Yes.
And we're going to have to leave, and there's just not much besides maybe the Tigers to say about Detroit sports.
Correct.
So, we'll start off. It's been a little bit, but we can talk about the Lions draft, the rest of those. I think, aside from the first pick, which I've clearly made my points on, I think that it went pretty well. I mean,
I was actually happier with like a later round picks than our first round pick. I mean, our second round pick, I think we hit on that. I really Tate Ratledge. I mean, besides the hair, what else do you love about this guy?
I think that they're all like good. I think Isaac Tesla, like he's of course a Michigander, which I love. Yeah. My dad went to college with his dad, but I think that they're going to convert him to a tight end. I know that might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think that we're pretty set in wide receivers. I'm really, really happy with the defensive end that we decided to take, Ahmed Hassan.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to really turn out. I think he was a steal.
Okay.
And honestly, I think that I'm hoping that he's going to be the guy to accompany Aiden Hutchinson on the other side.
And then Miles Frazier was the guard we took out of LSU.
Yeah.
I liked him, and I think he's going to be a very key piece because I don't know. I hate to say this. I think injury is going to hit our O-line again. I don't want to think that, but they're just getting up there in age. So they're going to slow. And I think he's going to be like one of those guys that are going to come out of the gates and be like, I'm this key backup. If we're struggling, if this guy has now allowed 3 sacks this game, put me in and all that. Ahmed, I like that he goes, probably he's going to be second stringer on the opposite side of Hutchinson.
He might be a starter.
He might.
Obviously, they'll gauge it and they'll see how he looks at the beginning of the season. But
Correct.
I think that he has the potential to become the guy, maybe not immediately, but pretty close to immediately. Maybe 5 games in. Mid-season type guy you throw on there.
We'll see. I mean, if it's only, obviously you're not going to replace Hutchinson, but if it's only Hutchinson,
well, yeah, if it's on the other side of the line.
Yeah, if it's only Hutchinson getting pressure and stuff, you got to fix something.
Yeah,
and it's you use him, and then if he's not working out, you go and get a trade asset, hopefully.
Yeah, I think the one questionable pick I think is our last pick, Dominic Clavette, the wide receiver. It's
taking 2 wide receivers in the draft.
It's a 7th round pick, and it was our last pick, so I guess maybe it was a little bit of a throwaway, but I felt like there was, maybe you could have used that on defensive end because that feels like a little bit of a throwaway. That feels like another Antoine Green type thing.
Yeah. I guess speaking about Hutchinson, did you see the clip of him he is moving.
He's always moving.
For being that, on a regular person, that injury, that puts you back 2 years. He's back by what? And off the top of my head, 7 months, something like that. Yeah, October. 7 months. He's bounced back, and I think one reason why is he wants it.
Yeah, he wants. He
wants to come back. I know he loves the city. He grew up He grew up in Plymouth.
Yeah.
So he's 30 minutes away from Detroit. He's know what these fans have felt like for years, and he wants to win something for them. So he wants to come back and do that.
Yeah.
Moving on. The Pistons did get eliminated in 6, almost made the comeback. In that series, it just showed that we don't have a game closer. Now, I also try to take this series with a grain of salt. We didn't have Ivy and we didn't have Stewart. Stewart would have been a big factor on that defense, guarding Carl Anthony Towns. Stewart is just more agile than Duran can. He can get outside and guard that 3-point line. He can defend the paint. He's a big asset to lose on the defensive side, and that kind of showed in that series. And also, we didn't have Ivy, who kind of was our second punch. And we kind of struggled. Throughout that whole series, different guys had to step up besides Cade. Right, in a few games, it was Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway. In that one win, it was Asar Thompson. So it's once I think we get Ivy back, and if we can make the playoffs next year, I think we'll be scary.
I think that's always been kind of the thing. I feel like we're not done yet. They're not done yet for sure. I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be very good next year. I think we could see what the Tigers are doing right now, where they're on. We'll get to this later a little bit, but they're on top of the AL right now, and like you see them kind of dominating the league a little bit. I don't know if they're going to completely dominate the league. I don't know if they're that type of powerhouse yet, but I think that it's getting there, and it might even be more comparable to like the Lions situation, where last year we were on top of the world, but I think it could be a situation where we're one of those guys, maybe like the 2023 season, where we're one of those guys, we're contenders, but we're not on top of the league, but we're one of those guys. And I also want to talk about like, I think the grit part of it is like you saw that game, you saw those games, like
we didn't.
The penalties were ridiculous, and like,
but we didn't back down. And it's like yes, did we blow?
Blew leads.
We blew leads, but it was like we didn't win. But in some of those games, we were down like 15, 18, and it's like we didn't say, okay, we're going to lose this game. Well, we didn't back down, and we kept on fighting. And then, I mean, I thought there was never a doubt. There was never a thought in my mind that said we are losing this game.
Yeah.
There was throughout that whole series. It was just up until the last 5 seconds of every single game. It's like, could you hold this?
They can come back from like a 30-point deficit, but when it comes to holding a like 4-point lead for a minute to hold, like to win the game 6,
it's tough.
It's like they can't do it.
And I'm going to kind of move segments now. I mean, Brunson did win, I think, Clutch Player of the Year. So, and I guess going off of that, we did go 0 for 3 in having those guys win their respective awards. I was not mad about Malik Beasley and Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
One, because Malik Beasley, he also started in a lot of games after Ivy went out and before we got Dennis. So I could see why he didn't win it. And Cade, he was also a first-round pick. So it's like you kind of also expected. But it's like J.B. Bickerstaff.
I think that's the one
that one got me. I'm like, how do you not give? Now, I understand. The Coach of the Year has now moved towards the most improved team and then giving it. And I understand that.
That wouldn't put us in that situation, though.
No. Like the most improved team.
If it was the most improved team, then it would be us.
It would be us. And that's kind of what this award has shifted to in like the NFL. And
I don't think it has, though. Because, I don't mean to be salty about this, and I'm not saying about this year, but like Kevin Stefanski, like he won that award over Dan Campbell, and I think Dan Campbell lost his chance at Coach of the Year just because Joe Flacco showed up and actually had a decent season for them. And I think I'm going to see this the same way with J.B. Bickerstaff, is that he's lost his chance to win that award because he got overshadowed by some guy who was, already kind of on a team, or he got benefited by someone that wasn't necessarily. Well, it was because Cleveland.
Cleveland was good last year with J.B. Bickerstaff, by the way, and I mean yes, I know they dominated this year. Yeah, I get that. I know they're on top, and like they did better than they would last season. Their chances have now skyrocketed to win the NBA championship without LeBron. Yeah. I understand that, but it's like with this award. I feel, I'm seeing this more in I would actually say, with the NFL, I felt like it never, if it went to the best team, Andy Reid would have like 6 of them, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
I feel like it's also like the most improved team. The NBA, though, I feel like they should move more in that direction, but not entirely. Like, let's say, the OKC, who was at the top of the West this year, suddenly goes and has a 70-win season. Right? But it's like, no team, especially no team really improved more than the Rockets and the Pistons. But the Rockets weren't
bad.
I was going to say something else. But they weren't bad. We were rock bottom. We were kind of more than rock bottom. But like, and then J.B. Bickerstaff comes in, he brings in a bunch of veterans, and he's like, okay, here's now, we need to now copy what the Lions are doing and what the Tigers are doing. Grit. We're going to be resilient. We will be chippy. We will fight, both in game with scoring and actually fighting. But it's like, it's like he took a 14-win team and he said, okay, now we're going to add 30 wins. We're going to make the playoffs for the first time since 2019, and then we're going to win a playoff game for the first time since 2008.
Yeah, I mean, right? I think one thing that can be said is like, and of course, I'm not super fluent in basketball, but like you have guys on that like on the court that can just do it for you. Like you see like LeBron James, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
It's like those are like superstars. Like they're going to do something obviously, and do they necessarily need a coach to do it? Possibly, but they're not going to need like the same push. Like you look at maybe like Joe Burrow or I'm trying to think of another bad team. I don't know, like C.J. Stroud or it's someone that can make a difference. Dak Prescott, that's a little bit.
That's a bit much, but
that's debatable. But still, like you need coaching. I think in the NFL,
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, you need more coaching in the NFL than you do in the NBA, basketball. And I think that improving a team is important in both, but like it's definitely more apparent.
I think it would depend the guys. I think you put like Cade. I don't think in 2 years he's going to need coaching.
Yeah,
but last year and the year before, he kind of did because he's still relatively young. So it's like we provide him with help. And it's like Jaden Ivey before he got injured, he was up at another level, and I think that's because of the coaching. Yeah. Right? Dwayne Casey didn't give us the coaching that we needed. He was a decent coach, but he didn't give us the coaching. Monty Williams did not give us the coaching. So now, J.B. Bickerstaff now comes in and he gives us the coaching, and I think and all these coaches with Detroit, it's like they come in and they have like you either meet their expectations or you don't, and if you don't, you're done.
Yeah,
like we see guys that are like, especially with the Lions, it's like they don't draft good people or great players because they don't meet their expectations. I think that's why we went with Jahmyr Gibbs instead of other guys, because he was like, this is the guy we want. And I mean, I'm going to say this, and then you could say what you want. I think that next year, I think JB Bickerstaff now knows what he has, and I think he could take his coaching to the next level.
Yeah.
And I really think I think he can win the award if we push 65 wins.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you think.
Nah, we'll just move on to the Tigers. How about them Tigers? Because now they're on top of the AL at the time of recording this. Is it the Yankees? The ones? Are they the ones
Yankees
behind?
Are so yeah. Yankees are there. We're a game ahead. We're a game and a half ahead of the Guardians. But we are looking good.
Yeah,
we are looking good. I mean, yes. Javier Baez. Talk about. I mean, if you want a most improved player, that's your guy. I mean, he's not. He's
doing things. Maybe it's not like awesome, but he's still doing things.
Defensively, he is doing very well. It's going to be probably his best season since 2019. Offensively, does he only have like 3 home runs? Yeah, but he's batting over 300 last time I checked, and it's like, he is one of those guys where it was like, you kind of written him off. He was done. You don't want him on this team. Now he kind of had this change, and he's hitting for contact. Mm-hmm. So, what have you seen throughout the season? I know you're not a baseball guy, but
I haven't honestly been watching that much. But I'm more aware of what Javi Baez is doing, and I think what I'm seeing, at least because most of the time all I see is the scores.
Yeah.
I might hear a thing or two about the guys, but all I see is the scores, and it's like, it's nice to see like when we just absolutely blow a guy out. Like, was it the Angels that was 13-1?
Angels was like dominated them.
And I like seeing them dominate people. And I don't want to get into we've been here before, Lions playoff where Correct. I say that we can automatically beat a team. But the Rockies, they don't look as strong as us.
Yeah.
And
I think we could sweep them. And we don't have that big of a schedule. We've got Rangers up next.
Yeah.
And then it's like then we have the Red Sox. It's like I think this team, we will know what they are in the middle of July. Because I think one of the first series that we play in July.
That's part of the reason that we're not talking about them too much.
I think one of the
first
series in July is against the Guardians.
Yeah,
and that's going to be a big series because that's actually going to tell you a lot about the team. Now we have learned this before from last season. We were bad in August, and then we turned it around the last 2 months. But I think we really click, and this is a team to make it to the ALCS, hopefully win it, and get back to the Fall Classic.
But we'll
I
see
think
how things turn out.
Yeah, and Detroit sports. I'm going to say this: Detroit sports are on the rise, and I cannot wait to see what happens,
especially with the city and whatnot. And,
and
we talk about it all the time. But,
yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I think that is the end of Motown Breakdown. At least with us, we'd love for someone to come in and do it for us. So, but I'm Jack D'Angelo.
I'm just Mavinak signing off for the final time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motown Breakdown.